or watered down. It's just the original game with control tweaks and a new coat of paint. Now, let's talk about that new coat of paint first. The visuals here. For my money, it all comes down to the character models. These new character designs look great, and I think it absolutely heightens the experience. Snake gets muddy, wet. He shows a little damage over time. Guard enemies actually kind of look like real soldiers. Hair looks realistic. Camouflage outfits show way more detail and look better than just like a texture swap. Metal Gear Solid 3's original art style, like props to them, it held up well. Those characters are actually still incredibly expressive for the time. But now, the better lighting and more realistic textures and faces just enhances some already great performances by the voice actors, the animators, and all the original work put in by those original developers. And it's still all the same voice performances, the same cutscene direction, the same shots, which really tells you just how ahead of its time this game originally was. Now it just has a nice Unreal Engine 5 sheen on it. Now it looks like $1,000,000. Every so often, the old game underneath will show in like an awkward pose or expression, but at this point, I don't know. I think that's part of the charm. Look, the game is preserved. Seeing those characters now in such high fidelity, especially Snake, the boss, and Vulcan as standouts. Look, it's been a hell of a trip for me to experience the story I've experienced 100 times before, but with characters looking more realistic. Realistic, but still stylized, most importantly. Outfits still look like cool costumes. Snake's bandana cartoonishly furrows along with his brow like Batman's mask. All of it just really works and is fun to watch on screen again. Now, graphics-wise, this was all captured running on a review copy I've been playing on PS5 Pro. And it's not perfect. It's not a locked 60 frames per second. Sometimes it slows down a little bit, but nothing too bad. I just was hoping for like a redo of an old game that would end up being rock solid frame rate wise. But otherwise, it still looks nice and sharp. And also, in terms of color palette, you can choose all these different filters that are kind of silly, but there is one important one, a good one, Legacy Mode filter, which I ended up using for quite a bit of the game and was shocked to see just how much it made it look more like how I remembered color-wise. Look, the new creative choices color-wise are fine, but I like the Legacy filter. A lot of the stuff like that, that's just personal preference. It's up to you, but definitely check it out in the settings. Otherwise, in terms of visuals, environments are a bit more 50-50 for me because it's such a tight remake. Level design and layout remains the same, and that's cool. Environment design and graphics do make a strong first impression. You know, dense foliage, high quality grass in these jungles everywhere, tons of trees with sunlight streaming through the branches with enhanced lighting. It's got the wow factor for old fans, and it just looks good for new fans. But as the game progresses, it feels like some of that nice sheen and attention to detail wears off a bit in spots. Interiors and more industrialized looking areas are upgraded from a technical standpoint, but don't really look as remarkable. Groznygrad, Granny Gorky Lab, like places that felt cold and industrial and barren in the original still feel pretty barren here. So look, I guess true to form, they're just not very exciting looking. Like they don't really flex the new graphics. It's here in sections that I actually felt more like I was just playing the original again. I don't know if that's like a deal breaker or just how good of a job they did remaking it, but it's just my personal experience. Now, gameplay-wise, it is very cool to play through this in this new updated fashion. It's tough to break that muscle memory for old fans, but the gameplay feels great. Snake is less clunky, less jerky, less stiff. Movement is smoother overall, and you'll notice it a ton when you do like a seamless run to crawl. It's smooth and it never gets old. They really did a good job with like fixing like the crouch, stand, crawl thing. You can still dive roll to a crawl, and that's good. Grabbing enemies with CQC feels much less awkward, and you're not going to accidentally like choke slam a dude into the ground as much. I like how they did this. My only issue here is that the cover system isn't that good. It's one of those cheap feeling cover systems where you walk up to it and you hope that Snake locks into it like you intended. It's not like an instant push snap to the wall as like the old games. And I think it feels weaker and less reliable.
Hey, Wendy.
You only use it so often, but yeah. Aiming in third person looks and feels pretty good, but you're going to need to get used to way more bullet draw aiming this way with the MK22. Switching to first person is still preferred, like in the OG, and movement in first person is really good now. Crouching into tall grass doesn't trigger first person automatically now. It uses this up close camera angle of Snake in the grass that I found kind of awkward and weird, just a bad angle. So I switched to first person right away. Some of the changes that seemed like they were going to be bigger on the surface that I was worried would like change the flow of the game didn't really.
How's your day
like
going?
being able to equip your camouflage on the fly, like while you're in game and not going to a menu. It didn't really make as much of a difference as I thought it would. It's just a nice little cleanup. Also, the healing menu and eating food is still pretty clunky. It's still very menu heavy. And while that's something that I think they could have tried to tweak more, clean up more, I think it would have kind of changed the feel of the game, the original game. And again, like I said, they seem pretty committed to keeping the feel mostly the same. So that's just how it's ended up. And a lot of this stuff, like, the muscle memory I mentioned, can be tweaked in the control settings. When you start the game, there's the option of 2 control modes with custom mappings if you need, which I certainly did because I could not get used to the crouch button being different. But like, there's also the difficulty modes and which mode to play. 2 modes: the modern remake mode or legacy mode. Legacy mode gives you the OG Metal Gear Solid 3 camera angles, this sort of mostly fixed top-down ones, which even as a purist are tough to go back to. I really liked what Subsistence did back in the day with changing this. But anyway, the updates in controls and stuff, they do make it an easier game. Stealth is still tricky, but I was able to cakewalk quite a few bosses. This is a minor complaint because I don't think new players are going to notice that much. And my small issues with the controls aside, I think they overall make it a better feeling and controlling game. Like I said at the start with that, like Snake just feels a bit less stiff and jerky, and that makes a hell of a difference. Now, this game, it's worth playing for the story, and there's a reason why I love these characters, why I love this world, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is a big part of that. While yes, it's a crazy, zany, Kojima-esque Cold War spy story with twists, turns, double crosses, and over-the-top superhero villains, it's also got a surprising heart to it. Relationships, mentorship, betrayal. It has a lot to say, and it doesn't tiptoe around it. It does it. It's not like a lot of other games where they allude to things or you can kind of read into things. Metal Gear Solid 3 wears its heart on its sleeve, and that's what I've really always loved about it. And I love that all of that is preserved, even very long codec conversations, quite a few at the start of the game, I think might scare some new players away, or like people are going to skip dialogue, but that's what makes these games so special. Look, I know some people don't want to sit and stare at a cutscene for a while, but these games, I think, really pioneered that, and it just makes for such a great ride. Again, because it's all preserved. It's not censored. They didn't cut anything. They didn't really tweak anything as far as I've been able to experience, and these games are just fun to play, and also they've got some replay value, and thankfully, the new game still acknowledges that. It's not the longest game, but Metal Gear games, you kind of like stumble through the first playthrough, and then your second playthrough, you go in like mastering everything. Plus, it comes with all the extras you'd expect, as well as Snake versus Monkey mode, like it's like Snake Ape Escape, which is great, as well as another surprise, which I really enjoyed, that I've seen people have been spoiling it on the internet. I don't want to do that. I think the Metal Gear Solid account spoiled it. I'm not going to do that. But just when you beat the game, there's a cool surprise. Along with that, in terms of things that they did tweak, there's one very subtle thing they did about 3/4 of the way through the game, just like a little slight character design tweak that I really, really appreciated. It's so small, and most of you aren't going to care. I'm not going to spoil it because I want Metal Gear fans to discover it for themselves, but it was just one small thing I saw, and I was like, nice, guys. That's a nice addition. That's the right way to do it. And in terms of additions, photo mode is great here. It's not like the most full-fledged photo mode like in like a Sony game or something like that, but it is really wild to go back and play through one of your favorite games, but now with access to instantly pause it and take cool photos. I always try to give love to photo modes. I think they're great. I'm not the best at making cool shots, but I appreciate it, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what the Metal Gear community cooks up with this. Please, guys, make me proud. So look, Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear Solid Delta, whatever they're calling it, I really enjoyed playing through this. I had my nitpicks as a hardcore fan, but I think overall, like I said, they didn't butcher it. They didn't disgrace it. I think they honored it. Again, they preserved what the original people did. They didn't cut anything. They didn't change anything too hard that turned me off. And now with it looking better and playing a little better, I'm excited for a new generation of people to experience this game. I'm going to miss Kojima having his hands on this, but as long as they don't make a Metal Gear Solid 6 or anything like that without him, I think I can live. But hey, that's a before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion. And now I want to hear yours down in the comments. I would love to know your experience with Metal Gear Solid. Are you as crazy as me? Have you never played them? Is this your first time jumping in? I'm really excited for you. So let's talk. Anything at all, Metal Gear, hit us up down in the comments. The game drops in a couple of days if you're watching this at launch. So thank you for watching. If you get what we're trying to do here, we've been doing it for over a decade. Clicking the like button helps us out. We appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out new videos every single day. But as always, I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh, you didn't say
I haven't felt the tension like this.
But why didn't you tell us how much they're charging for it? Then he'll be like, and it's at this price point. I wonder since it's I don't know. Most of the time they don't try to charge like new game prices for remakes like that. So I wonder if they are. Is it going to be like $50 or $70? Because Metal Gear was one of my favorite games of all time too. You know? That game was so good and influential. Ooh. Yeah, Katrina was a whole fucking clusterfuck how they handled that. That shit was crazy. And then they, after the damage was cleared up, they built housing that the local residents couldn't afford, and they gentrified that whole area after that hurricane and pushed everybody out.
actors, we have the power to convince the world we know what we're doing, when in fact,
Tonight, an I-Team exclusive, new video and information on the men who claim to have set up vigilante patrols in Algiers Point. Did the West Bank turn into the Wild West in the days following Hurricane Katrina?
Let's go to WDSU News Channel 6 reporter Travis Mackel with the I-Team investigation you'll see only on...
Some men, Bill Street, the entire...
How many people you shoot? But you did.
12 days after the storm hit.
Did you have any problem with looters? Not anymore. But you did. But what happened?
we shot them.
How many people did you shoot?
38.
38 people. What did you do with the body? Did you take them to?
Gave to the Coast Guard.
With a cup of red wine in one hand and riding a tractor from Blaine Kern's Mardi Gras world, Gleason told his story to Esteban Belode and Michael Orsini, two cops from Pennsylvania who came to New Orleans to help provide security after the storm.
I got a sense that he wanted to tell somebody his activities. This is what happened. This is how bad it was. The emotion that he was talking with was live or die, and I had to do what I had to do.
Oh,
I tried to shoot to put him down. We didn't try to shoot and kill.
Oh, okay. So you
Killed a number of them.
How many did you kill roughly?
Cats. Cats.
Yeah, I hear you.
Doesn't matter. They chose to die. They chose to commit suicide. They opened up on us, so we fight back.
It makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach to even, hear that guy talking.
Yeah, that part probably won't be in the documentary, but yeah, that was like a major fucking race war in New Orleans after that shit. And so, like the white guy said, oh, well, we were only shooting looters? Really? And then you only shot to put them down, you didn't shoot to kill? Nah, you meant to kill these people. And they weren't just shooting looters. They were shooting anybody. They had sundown hours, and they was like, yo, if you see the black people on the streets after sundown, we will kill you. And then at the same time, this is after a major hurricane that has destroyed half the fucking city. People aren't looting, they're picking up whatever left. If they're grabbing some canned goods out the grocery store, what the fuck is it to you? What the fuck is it to you? People are trying to fucking survive. And then, I don't know, like I might have to listen to that clip more, because I've only ever seen him talking, but I wonder what happened after his interview. Did he get convicted for fucking murder? Or not? They just like, oh well, he killed, he shot 38 people. He killed some of them, but it was a live or die situation. He'll be all right. So that clip has been floating around for years, bro. I've seen that shit years ago, but he was just some random guy from in that area where Katrina hit. Just a random guy. And he said they had to set up patrols to stop looters, and they was killing motherfuckers, yo. Literally shooting people dead in New Orleans. Yeah, just some random dude said he was trying to, protect his community, his neighborhood, his house and property. But I think they really started patrols. They started like patrolling the area and telling everybody there was a curfew and all kind of stuff. They were just like a fucking militia. They're not law enforcement officers or government personnel. These were just motherfuckers from the neighborhood who were like, oh, these niggas stealing from the grocery store. We're gonna have to go shoot them fellas. Yeah, that shooting shit was crazy. Yo, real life duck hunting, bro. hmm That's all they was doing. Just, I think they were terrorizing people. And it don't matter what you were doing or where you were at or why you were where you were. They were gonna fucking harass you and fucking try to kill you. I really think that was their agenda. It's like this is the perfect opportunity for us to. What was the name of that movie? The Purge. Yo, they had their own. It was the perfect time for them to have a little purge. You know, um, no real reason to want to cause harm to these people other than just fucking. You're kind of psychotic, and you just want to do injury, bodily harm, and take the life of other people just because. Like, right now the city is in such a state of emergency that nobody's going to come and nobody's going to help right now. So while we're left alone to our own devices for a couple days, I'm about to purge the fuck out this city. I'm going to try to kill all these motherfuckers I can. Because what are they going to do? Who's going to come help them? Like a motherfucking bee. Busy as a bzzz. Man, I just ate like a handful of those Doritos. I got the munchies like crazy right now. I might have to eat some more chips or something. I really do have to go grocery shopping tomorrow. I'm out of fruit again. I hate when I don't have fruit in the house. Like normally, like fruit is my go-to snack. A banana, an apple, some cherries, a grapefruit, or something. I don't got nothing. I ain't even got a goddamn grape in the house. I got some blueberries, but I freeze my blueberries. I don't want to eat no frozen blueberries. Put them in a Sprite. Call it Bubba. They give me a fruit pie. Some fruit and pastry. Some flaky crust. And get some of that flakiness. Delicious. Just like Grandma used to make. Mm-hmm. Painting leather, painting leather, painting leather. Painting leather, painting leather, painting leather. And I do it with some pleasure when I'm painting on that leather. From all them details, can't nobody do it better. Painting leather, painting leather, painting leather. Painting leather, painting leather, painting leather. And it gives me pleasure when I'm painting all this leather. You can tell by the detail. You can tell by the details. Can't nobody do it better. Painting leather, painting leather, painting leather. Don't make me do it, guys. Don't make me do it. Which is better than painting leaves. Which is I rather do leather than leaves, bro. I ain't lying. I'm done with the foliage for the rest of the fucking year, dude. If I gotta paint another leaf, a petal, anything, I'm gonna flip my wig. I'm gonna pop my top. I'm gonna short my shorts. Need to keep believing.
Trap house entertainment. The sky is the limit. Flying up in it. Stay high till we finish. Catch a vibe in a minute.
Focus, camera.
Watch what you say. Watch how they spin it. Yeah, we came to play, and we still handle business. Keep believing.
Come on, focus.
Keep believing in yourself. Keep believing. Keep believing in yourself. Take control, try to reach your goals, ignore all those who will oppose. You gotta do what feeds your soul and focus on what means the most. Never dim your light or your self-esteem. If the vibes are right, you know you will succeed. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delays. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delays. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself, yourself. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself, yourself.
Just focus. There you go. God damn, this camera be struggling, bro. Worst camera in the world.
Trap house entertainment.
Oh, them teeny tiny faces got me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Piss me off. Little teeny faces pissing me off.
The sky is the limit. Flying up in it. Stay high till we finish. Catch a vibe in a minute. Watch what you say. Watch how they spin it. Yeah, we came to play. And we still handle business. Keep believing. Keep believing. In yourself. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself. Take control, try to reach your goals, ignore all those who will oppose. You gotta do what feeds your soul and focus on what means the most. Never dim your light or your self-esteem. If the vibes are right, you know you will succeed. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delay. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delay. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself.
Yeah, this album right here is gonna go so hard, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna write one more song for it. I'll probably just go ahead and drop this shit like next week or the week after. And then I'll drop that the dance disco thingy. Like the electronic dance music.
Everyone's searching for something that's real, something to feel, something that heals. If you look past the surface, the depths will reveal truths they can't conceal. Life has made it appeal. What a beautiful notion.
Hey,
I swam across an ocean of violent emotions. My spirit is floating, consciousness growing. As my body grows old, contemplating my soul. And where does it go when the vessel is empty? Everyone's searching for something that's real, something to feel, something that heals. If you look past the surface, the depths will reveal truths they can't conceal. Life has made it to peace. Don't be afraid as we dance to the grave. Walk in the sun, live life every day. Love and relationships, memories are made. Lay down some stones, pave a new way. Plant a new tree, relax in the shade. If you keep searching, I'm sure that you'll find all that you need. Because life is divine. Everyone's searching for something that's real, something to feel, something that heals. If you look past the surface, the depths will reveal truths they can't conceal. Life has made it so pain. Drop out, it's aiming. Grains of sand tumble through glass, counting the minutes and hours that pass. We do our best to make it last, 'cause none of these seconds ever get back. Grains of sand tumble through glass, counting the minutes and hours that pass. We do our best to make it last, 'cause none of these seconds ever get back. Living the moment, connected and focused. The clock may be broken, but time keeps on flowing. Paint you a picture or write you a poem, sing you a song, slow dance with emotion. Do it now, do it today. We got no time, no time to waste. Do it now, do it today. We got no time, no time to waste. The most expensive currency that we spend on everything. Where do you place your value? And tell me, what does it really bring? These moments are fleeting. Everyone's searching and seeking the truth and the meaning. Days go by and time keeps creeping. Grains of sand tumble through glass, counting the minutes, hours that pass. We do our best to make it last, 'cause none of these seconds never get back. Grains of sand tumble through glass, counting the minutes, hours that pass. We do our best to make it last. 'Cause none of these seconds will ever get back. Do it today. We got no time, no time to waste. We don't have too much time. Everything will fade away. So enjoy the sunshine, because the present is today. Trap house entertainment. The sky is the limit.
We flying up in it.
Stay high till we finish. Catch a vibe in a minute. Watch what you say. Watch how they spin it. Yeah, we came to play, and we still handle business. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself, Keep believing, keep believing in yourself. Take control, try to reach your goals, ignore all those who will oppose. You gotta do what feeds your soul and focus on what means the most. Never dim your light or your self-esteem. If the vibes are right, you know you will succeed. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delays. Let no one stop you from being great. Stay on your mission with no delays. Keep believing, keep believing in yourself, Keep believing, keep believing in yourself,
Music makes me lose control. Music makes me lose control. Music help me free my soul.
The new Old Spice NFL collection at Walmart today. We came here.
Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control. Alright, that's enough. Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control. Leather, 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 leather. I'm painting that. Leather makes me lose control. Alright, I'm done with that one. Oh yeah. We looking like something over here, sir. You starting to look like something over here, my guy. Let's see, what can I do next? Oh, ooh. Okay. I'm gonna add a little more. Nice. That means I'm done for the day. I'm about to take my ass to the damn house.
Talk to you, man. Real talk. Fuck with me before you leave. Yeah, fuck with me before you leave. Who ain't got decent grades though? Raise your hand for real. Everybody ain't got good grades, gang. You don't. Why you ain't got good grades? What's your distraction?
Isabella Conklin was your average teenage girl looking for love.
I should be celebrating with Conrad and Jeremiah, but they won't even text me back anymore because you made things messy.
Moving that dirt till it hurts like payday. Cash that chick in a one-horse town. Punching that clock now.
I'm Tana, and today we're in Shelby, North Carolina at Pleasant Mart asking customers about the new double chili cheeseburger special.
That damn bullshit had me blowing mud from sun up to sundown. Shitted my britches so bad the stains won't come out.
Well, I was here trying to land this thumb in a chili ring, but everyone's got them bubble guts and splatter
Hey,
butts.
off
Well, me and
word.
my main Jugalette got a chili burger before I clocked out. Why, when I go to smack that, my hand come back blasted with Nutella.
I done had a chocolate cream in these Depends before I even got here.
Hell, I ate about 3 of them chili burgers. My boyfriend wanted to do some spelunking, and I gave him the old Hershey hose down.
Boy, I don't know what the fool's complaining about. I've been trying to squeeze out this dirt snake for weeks. Thank you, Pleasant Mark. I'm gonna tell you something, buddy. Them chili burgers was good, but I could have shit through a screen door and not catch a piece.
Bro, I had this shawty tossing it back on me after she had them burgers and tell me why I had tire tracks on my new Johns. Know what I'm saying?
Shit, dog, where them shitty britches bitches at? Let me be that cork, you know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is I ain't shot a mud log out of this turd cannon like that in years. Hell, I'm gonna have a few more of them chili burgers. Thanks, Pleasant Mart.
That's crazy. Don't nobody do it like Pleasant Mart. I'm telling you now. He said, run, motherfucker.
Involving 2 gangs of
All right, I'm gonna drop this down. What time is it? It's only 4. Drop this back down a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land. I told you, and they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got raped. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit.
everything that they said was a fucking complete.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a clip from one of the most unfiltered debates you'll see this year, featuring none other than Dan Bilzerian, the wild card millionaire who surprisingly dropped some real talk about Palestine, versus PBD, the MAGA mouthpiece. This one gets heated fast. Dan doesn't hold back. PBD gets defensive, and the whole thing spirals into one of those moments where you really start to see who's dodging, who's deflecting, and who's actually making a point. Stick around. You're not going to believe what gets said in this exchange. Let's get into it.
More recent. I didn't really realize what a problem it was until recently, and then everybody was scared to say something about it. My brother told me, like, you know, you can't say anything about it, they'll fucking kill you. Like, everybody basically said that I couldn't say anything about it. And actually now they're like literally like trying to like kick me off the board of my company because of those tweets. I'm like, shit, I've definitely had a lot of like negative pushback, a lot of my Jewish friends, but I don't give a fuck. You know, it's like one of those things where I know that it's the right thing, and the fact that everybody else is scared to say it makes me, you know, feel obligated to be vocal about it.
Why do you think it's the right thing?
Because I know that they're a fucking parasite. Like, they provide the U.S. absolutely no value. They've done so many things that, you know, would constitute, you know, an act of war against us. I mean, USS Liberty, Lebanon Affair, I mean, they can go on and on and on and on and on. But, you know, I think they knew about 9/11. I think they had JFK assassinated. The first thing that he wanted to do, you know, right before he died was, you know, make AIPAC a foreign entity, and not allow them to have nukes. And then all of a sudden, this fucking guy's dead. And Jack Ruby, who is Jack Rubenstein, you know, I mean, it's just like, and then you just, I don't know, man, I can't ignore all the shit that they've done. They sold our secrets. Netanyahu lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. We fought all these fucking wars. My friends have died over there, like, you know, and I just look at what they provided us with, and it's fucking, it's not nothing. It's like a negative, you know. It's not, even if they just didn't do jack shit, that would be, you know, bad. But they've actually done things to hurt us over and over and over again. So like this whole thing of they're our greatest allies is complete fucking bullshit. And you know, we send them $100 billion, and they send AIPAC $100 million, and then they distribute it to our politicians, and every politician has a little fucking AIPAC handler walking around, telling them what to fucking say and how to vote. And it's just like, look, I'll donate like $100 grand for politicians, you know, and they call me up like, hey, you need anything? Like every week. I don't need shit. I fucking sit on my ass. I don't do anything. I don't care. I don't fucking break any laws. I don't need any favors. Like, I just gave it to them because I didn't want to see any more fucking retard, you know, Democrats in there. So, you know, but that's 100,000. Like, what does 100 million buy you? How many fucking phone calls do those guys get? You know, and so like, I just know how it works, and the system is broken. Like, these people get into office and they don't have very much money, and they get out of office with fucking tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not a fucking accident, right?
Is that an Israel thing, or is that anybody? Because China's doing the same thing.
China, it doesn't have they don't have an AIPAC. Like, Israel is the only one that has a fucking, like, a lobby in the U.S. fucking, you know, giving these politicians money.
Okay, no, every country, the big ones all have lobbies. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel, you know, Israel?
That's another problem is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole other issue.
Dan said, if you don't put America first as a U.S. politician, you are committing treason. That alone should have made PBD pause. But instead, he shifts into full deflection mode. The moment Dan starts criticizing Israel, PBD interrupts, downplays, pivots, and tries to reframe the whole conversation like Dan is somehow being unreasonable for even bringing it up. When Dan said they're a parasite, they provide to you absolutely no value, PBD didn't engage with the argument. He didn't address any policy. He didn't counter with facts. He just threw out, China does the same thing, and moved on. That's not a rebuttal. That's evasion. It's the kind of tactic you use when you don't want to touch the subject because you know it's politically risky, or worse, because you've built your brand on being bold, except when it threatens your donor base or public image. Dan brought up AIPAC and said, we send them $100 billion. Then they send AIPAC $100 million. And then AIPAC distributes it to our politicians. That's his claim. And instead of challenging that with any numbers, legal counterpoints, or transparency facts, PBD just brushes past it fast. At one point, Dan even says, I donated $100K to politicians and they call me every week. What does $100 million buy you? That should have opened up a serious conversation about political access, lobbying ethics, and how money influences foreign policy. But PBD shuts it down by saying every country has lobbyists, which again is an intellectually lazy way to avoid the scale and uniqueness of what Dan is pointing to.
You know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a
country again. They didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of like, okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country, you won't lose your citizenship? That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
What's the third one? I know Armenia.
the St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they're favoring that other country. And so that to me is treason. Like when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not some other fucking foreign country. And that's the problem.
Okay, so but go through it. So what is the solution? Meaning, if Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why did you
give me an argument otherwise?
Please, but
give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. It's right. It's a very it's not as like here. You can sit here. You can be an atheist. You can be an agnostic. I can be a Christian. You can be a Jew. You can be an LDS, Muslim. No problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So not everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran. Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's families make? Do you know how much money they have? 200.
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai. I've been to Saudi. Like I've been to UAE. So like, and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than. But go back to it. So okay. So you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating in apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like, do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense? Well, when 1,200 people died, of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted you've killed a lot during, your hand.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they were attacking.
About it. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take them. Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get
it. And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got raped. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete.
But let's break this down. Dan says, and these are his exact words, they claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. They claimed mass rapes. Bullshit. They wanted this attack to happen, so they had an excuse to take the land. Now, regardless of how controversial that statement is, look at what happens next. PBD doesn't refute it. He doesn't challenge the claim, cite sources, or even offer counter evidence. He just dodges, jumping straight to book. But have you ever lived there, or what about Iran? That's not a rebuttal. That's avoidance. Classic deflection 101. Then PBD pulls out the tired, false comparison. Well, can you be Christian or atheist in Iran? Okay. But Dan never defended Iran. That's the move. Criticize Israel, and suddenly you're defending every authoritarian regime in the Middle East. It's a rhetorical sleight of hand designed to blur the conversation. Dan actually clarifies he's been to Dubai, Saudi, the UAE, and points out how Muslim-majority countries can function just fine. PBD responds with Iran is different, but never explains how that's relevant to Israeli policies. Again, misdirection. What this moment really exposed is the difference between calling out injustice and trying to control the narrative. Dan may not be a polished political operator, but he was willing to say the uncomfortable part out loud. Meanwhile, PBD resorted to shouting, interrupting, and demanding binary yes or no answers to morally layered questions. That's not intellectual rigor, that's debate theater. In my view, Dan didn't just hold his own, He revealed how hollow and repetitive PBD's talking points really are when stripped of the emotional framing. If you truly want to talk about what makes the world safer, then start with equality, occupation, and human rights, not bait questions designed to shut down uncomfortable truth.
Not only was it a lot,
Save time creating content and generate a high quality clip.
but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and have been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang raping Palestinians. You know, how many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of or Hamas of or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves.
So you,
and they've been doing that. Like October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like the start of this was not, but they've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, there's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like they've been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. You know, it's like they have the justice for the Palestinians, the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, you know, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, you know, like cattle. If a Jew is, you know, is killed by, you know, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you know, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like they literally like segregate in their Bible.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a.
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, you know, raping, you know, kids that are under 9 years old, like if you think those things are okay, then, you know, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like my moral code keeps me on track.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue.
Well,
with this.
no, but what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
there was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
Send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories that it's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet. The other one died in the hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There's no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
So go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else.
It says it in their Bible.
Okay, but you believe they're better than everybody else. Okay.
I didn't say they're better than everybody else.
They think.
According to their scripture.
Okay, but
and then if you look at how they operate, right, like they literally caught people raping Palestinian prisoners, and there was riots. But the riots weren't because they were raping the prisoners. The riots were because they felt like they had the right to rape the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because they felt like they had the right to rape these prisoners. They felt like that was okay because they weren't Jewish. So, you know, when you have a society that operates like that, you're going to have fucking problems. And they're not the fucking most moral army. That's all fucking bullshit. You know, everything that they say, it's just like almost like, listen, when somebody lies to me, like if you lie to me, I'm not probably going to trust you again. You lie to me a second time, I'm definitely not going to trust you. You lie to me a third time, and I let you lie to me the third time, I'm the fucking idiot. These motherfuckers have lied like 10,000 times. So, like, I don't believe anything that they say.
I come from a place of, I don't sit here expecting you to tell me 100% the truth. I don't sit here thinking, yeah, Dan's going to tell me 100% the truth with whatever he has in his life. I don't expect that from you because I don't expect people to walk on water. That's not my expectation. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to live it with my life, but you can't think that China's going to tell us the truth, or Iran tells us the truth, or U.S. tells everybody the truth, or you think any country is going to tell us 100% the truth.
But I don't know, man. I got a different moral code. Like in gambling, but in gambling and business, like with my friend group, like you lie one time, you welch on a debt, you do one thing.
In friendship, though,
I'm just saying, my friends, people that I know, people that do business with, people I gamble with, like
it's the same thing I have as well. It's the same thing most people have. There's a difference between on the personal side than on the countryside. So
here's where it gets really telling. PBD tries to drag the conversation into that vague shrug it off zone, the every country lies defense. He literally says things like, you think China tells the truth? You think the US does? Like he's saying, yeah, they lie, but so does everyone else. So what? And Dan doesn't play that game. He fires back with something simple but powerful. You lie to me once, I stop trusting you. You lie twice, I'm done. That's a moral code. That's a principle. And whether you love Dan or not, that kind of honesty hits different. Because most people, normal people, relate to that. We all know what it feels like when someone lies to your face and expects you to just keep going like nothing happened. When governments do it, when they lie, cover it up, and then demand blind loyalty anyway, that's betrayal on a whole other level. What this whole segment exposes is the massive double standard in how we process morality. Dan's saying, if you did this in my circle, you'd be done. But PBD saying, well, that's just geopolitics. That's how countries work. But come on, that's not an argument. That's apathy. And in my view, that's exactly how injustice survives. When we lower the bar so much that morality becomes optional, as long as it's wrapped in a flag or justified by some greater good. So let me ask you this. Why is it that anytime someone calls out abuse or corruption, the first response is always, well, what about the other side? Why can't we just say, if that happened, it's wrong, period? Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially if you've seen the full debate. Were Dan's claims too much, or was he just saying the uncomfortable stuff that most people are too afraid to say out loud? If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.
Do you know you're a farmer? Chances are you probably don't. Over the last many decades, we have become completely disconnected from where our food comes from.
You know what? It is extremely hard to argue in the defense of Israel. No, this is. If you're trying to argue that Israel is a good place and they have good leadership, it's hard to do that.
What would you say is the greatest side?
We went all the way down the road to hedonism and documented it.
So marriage is out the question for you, out of the question, no interest at all.
Well, she's a billionaire, you know what I mean? I'm like, you got any guns? Like, can we buy a gun? He's like, no, we buy dynamite.
How old are you at this time?
13, yeah.
And you're interested in guns at 13?
Oh, I was like 6, I got my first gun. 1% tax on tea. That's why we have this country. Come on,
that has attracted millions on social media. Dan recently shared with me that he has stepped away from the spotlight to reflect on his life, the effect of nonstop partying on his life. We talked about addiction, how to talk to women. In this interview, Dan talks about his journey from living as a playboy to finding true happiness. Let's just get right into it.
Recently, you know, when I
say something about it, my brother told me it was.
But when you hear about, particularly the stories of UAP or UFO encounters, the ones that intrigue me the most are the ones that are military pilots, the people that know the difference between a flock of birds and weird anomalies. Are you aware of the Tic Tac incident?
Yeah.
So when you hear about things like that, and in my mind, there's a couple possibilities. One, super advanced, blacklisted military, some sort of propulsion system that they've been working on for decades, completely in secrecy, and they're testing them off of areas where you have a lot of military activity, which is where these things do take place.
Yeah.
One of them was San Diego, that's the Nimitz, and the other one, the Ryan Graves footage, the stuff that they get, that's on the East Coast. But it's all in areas where they already do military training exercises with fighter jets. So it would make sense that that's where if this was the United States government doing that stuff, they would do that. But when you get back to like 2004, and you're talking about something that can go from 50,000 feet above sea level to sea level in less than a second, I think it's 7/8 of a second it went. You have visual confirmation, you have radar, you have video of it, you have 2 different jets that see this thing. No one understands what it is. It flies directly to their cap point where their meetup point was supposed to be. The whole thing's nuts.
Yeah, it's fast. I would love
to know what the hell happened. I think,
Yeah.
like everyone, I'm fascinated by it.
You can't throw it away. It's one of those ones you can't throw. I throw most of them away. Most of them, I love UFO stories because they're fun.
Yeah.
But most of them, like, it could be anything.
Something shady going on.
Could be anything. Could be people want attention. Could be military exercises. Could be mass delusion. Could be people just love to be special and have had some sort of an encounter, which they do. It gives them some sort of social credit to have some sort of an encounter with a thing, and they exaggerate. People love to exaggerate.
Yeah, I'd love to make this ingestible to science. That's sort of been my goal. Like, how can science take a hold of this? And when we do these experiments, I told you about this moon that I thought I found. It turned out it was the instrument being crazy, right? Because sometimes instruments do crazy stuff that we don't understand. So the only way to figure that out is to get hold of the instrument, right? We need to get it in our labs and take that thing apart and test it and calibrate it, etc. And we don't have access to these military devices. It's all top secret, so we can't even do that experiment. But I can imagine thinking about how to do that. One of the big numbers we don't know, even with the visual reports, is the false positive rate. So this is a key number in science. Whenever you do an experiment, you need to know how often does the experiment produce something that's spurious, the false positive rate. Now, in the US, there's about 28,000 pilots across all military branches, and they fly something like 200 hours per year on average. So that's 5.6 million hours in the air every year in 1 year. Now, let's say a pilot, 1 in every 10,000 hours that they fly, they make a mistake. They misidentify a balloon for a UAP or whatever it is. 1 in 10,000. That's an incredibly low, by the way, error rate to have. But even then, you end up with 560 UAPs a year made that way, all spurious, all not real, just from human error. So the only way, and that's actually pretty similar to Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book found about 742 per year was being reported. So, I made that number up 1 in 10,000. But we need to know what that number is. If it turns out there's an excess, like the error rate is 100,000, then that Project Blue number is super interesting. And it would be in excess. And we'd say we've detected something. There's a real anomaly here that we have to look at. But the problem is we don't know what that number is. I mean, you'd have to somehow put these pilots in like simulators or something where you have complete control conditions for thousands of hours and somehow test how often do they make these mistakes.
Also, the problem, Project Blue Book was not an objective analysis of UFOs. They had a directive. The directive was to discredit everything.
Yeah, but even so, I'm just giving you sort of ballpark. In the NASA UAP task force was similar kind of numbers. You get like hundreds per year of these sorts of events, right? I don't think that's a crazy number to throw around. So the whole point is that whatever numbers you choose, you have to know the error rate of the experiment. And we could imagine making that legit and doing it. There's actually one of the recommendations of the task force, the NASA UAP task force, was to develop an app on people's phones, iPhones, because they have magnometers on them, they have GPS, they have the camera, these high resolution images. So there's enough instrumentation on there, and it's all the same, and we understand that technology, that you could have 10 people video the same UFO, and you'd be able to triangulate the position, the speed, get the distance to it, you get all that kind of information. And so there is actually, I think there's an app called Enigma you can now download that does this. There's some independent apps which have been developed to do
Really?
this.
Just about UAPs?
Yeah, for UAP spotting.
I wonder what they did with those in New Jersey when they were having all those stupid drone sightings.
I chatted to one of the developers and they said, things were going crazy that week. They said,
lighting that all about it. That was so strange. That was so strange. That's one of those things where I feel like the government completely failed us in explaining to people is this some sort of top secret military thing? Is this another country? Is this some sort of a private business that wants to test how fantastic their drones are? Like, why? Why is this happening? And why are you freaking everybody out? Like, what?
It really sucks that we live in an age of drones and so many like Starlink satellites, because if you see something in the sky now, your immediate reaction is that's probably a human controlled vehicle. If you could go back to the 1940s, 1930s, then if you had UAP reports then, I think they'd be more convincing, because there's no that's pre-Sputnik, right? There shouldn't be anything in orbit of the Earth at that point.
Right.
So that would be more compelling. But of course, we can't rewind the tape.
Right, and all those stories like the Kenneth Arnold incident and all these different ones are just these anecdotal tales of people saying they saw things in the sky. And I'm not saying they're liars, but that's not enough. I need something.
Yeah, I think it depends what your goal is. If your goal is to convince yourself that aliens are out there because you saw a UFO, I think that's easy enough to do. But most people in that world, they want more than that. They want me to believe it. They want you to believe. They want everyone to believe it, to come along for the ride.
Right.
It's like having a religious guy come knock your door, like join my church. That it's not enough for them to have the personal belief. It has to grow. And so, if you really want to convince everyone, that's going to naturally include the skeptics, the doubters. It's going to include the scientists. If you want to bring everyone in with you, then the standard of evidence is going to be pretty damn good. It's going to be really strong, and we're just not there, right? There's too many ways out. Right?
If I was an alien civilization that wanted to observe Earth undisturbed, I'd make sure I didn't leave enough evidence for science to take me seriously.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Yeah,
I would never show myself. Like, why would I feel like if they can?
But then why the UFOs at all?
Because they're probably monitoring us. Like, I would monitor us if I was a scientist from another planet. If imagine we leave this planet, we become interstellar, we evolve past war and all the horrible things that are holding us back right now. We reach a state of evolution 1 million years more advanced, and then we start to explore the galaxy for other habitable planets and we find something like us.
Yeah.
I mean, what would we go? All right, we got one.
Yeah.
I would also say, let's make sure that they don't fuck this up or they have to start back from scratch 3 billion years ago because they nuked themselves into oblivion and we have to wait till everything cools off before complex life can form again, which is it's a legitimate possibility.
Yeah.
Well, with what we're dealing with today in 2025, with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and Iran and
just the existence, as long as we have nukes, there is a chance every year that some guy will push that button, right?
Yeah, every year there's a chance. And there's been multiple close calls throughout history, since 1945 on, multiple close calls. That could possibly have gone sideways in countless different planets where they recognize, like, if you let these territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons get to a point where the head ape is on fucking Adderall and decides to let it all go because he's got a bad heart valve and he's going to die anyway. Like, these are all legitimate possibilities. You're going to have a government structure that can protect people from the acts of one individual who goes mad.
Yeah.
Like, if someone can go mad enough, and clearly many people did, to drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that happened. We know human beings are capable of that.
Yeah, it was 80 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is kind of wild. It hasn't happened since. But if that's possible, then it's also possible for just annihilation. It's possible that they just start launching and then there's rubble and then you're left with roaches.
Yeah.
And that could have happened all throughout the universe. So that might be a thing where there's a protocol where you recognize as soon as they start figuring out nuclear technology, okay, this is the big one. We're no longer dealing with cannons and muskets. Now we've got something really crazy.
Yeah.
They're flying through the sky and dropping nuclear weapons out of propeller-powered airplanes. And they're doing it just 50 years after they invented the fucking airplane, which is even crazier. They went from inventing the airplane to dropping
They really want to kill themselves.
Like, these people are wild. Like, this is, I mean, it's just like Chip Nation. If you watch Chip Nation, they are so hyper aggressive and violent. That's us. That's our cousins. This is who we are. This is who we are. This is our timeline of evolution on our planet in Earth. And I would imagine there would be similar situations all throughout the galaxy, because I feel like the only way you really achieve hyper innovation is through competition. And the only way competition exists is it's got to be life or death. And it starts out life or death with predators and neighboring tribes, and eventually becomes cities and countries. And there's something has to motivate people to work 16 hours a day and develop the B-12 bomber. Like, something has to take place. So that something, unfortunately, also leads itself to want to control resources, dominate people, crush opposition, and that's where it gets crazy. And I would imagine that's a formula, just like the formulation of solar systems and galaxies probably varies a lot all throughout the universe, but that formula is probably fairly stable, is that there has to be some form of really wild, aggressive kind of competition that leads them to this position. There has to be a motivation to create AGI. Why would you do that when you have a log cabin, you're sipping tea, sitting out there, enjoying playing with your dog? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you making a non-biological super intelligence that may decide that you're obsolete? Doesn't make any sense. But
yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? We have this tribalism in us, this competition, and that has undoubtedly led, like, all the greatest innovations in science often happen during war, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have all, like you mentioned, radio, and
yes,
so many advances in avionics and flight happened during the wars, munitions, all this kind of stuff. So it pushes us, it drives us to innovate, to get one over our neighbors. And maybe that is the universal story of the universe. It's a double-edged sword, and that's the solution to the great filter. The silver lining of this would be, well, not for us necessarily, but the silver lining would be if other civilizations do this. There's kind of like this supernova effect in astronomy, and it's true for planets as well, that the easiest stars to discover are the supernovae, right? Because they just shine so freaking bright. They can outshine an entire galaxy, right? Because they're going nuts. It's a brief thing, it only lasts for maybe a few months or so, but the star is outshining an entire freaking galaxy during that time. It is like a nuclear war going on inside that star. And similarly, the first planets we found, the hot Jupiters, are freaks. They are not normal things. They're like the loud, Lindsay Lohan in the room screaming at us. Like, they're just like super easy to see. Like, there's no way you can miss them. They're obnoxious planets, but you can't not detect them. And so, by analogy, we've seen this so many times in astronomy. The first thing we detect, the first example of something we detect, is often not typical. It's often that loud asshole version of the thing, right? And so maybe the first civilization we detect will be like that. And if they were on their deathbed, right, they're about to nuke each other to hell, they have a good motivation to reach out to us, right? Because they've got nothing to lose.
Right.
We might be like worried right now because we could see we've got a future ahead of us. But if you think this is it, I'm done. Like, what do you got to lose? You may as well send a message out saying, hey, we were here. This is our shit. Please help us if you can, because we're about to go to hell.
Well, there's probably a bunch of different kinds of intelligent beings on every planet. Just like there's people like you and me, and then there's war hawks that are working for the military-industrial complex right now. They're trying to figure out how to invade some country to get their natural gas. This is just, there's a bunch of different types of intelligent people or intelligent creatures here on Earth. Yeah. You would imagine there would be people out there in those planets that would go, guys, this is fucking terrible. Yeah. We've got to figure out a way to at least create panspermia on some other planet and throw our DNA at some habitable spot somewhere in the galaxy. Yeah, it'd probably be a bunch of people that were it's not like everyone would be lockstep into self-destruction.
Well, the Starship thing, I remember some team members talked about that. I was in some of the meetings, and they said maybe we should like lace human DNA into the sail. So when it hits this planet, at least our DNA, because it's looking grim here, at least then there's like a seed of us.
I don't think it's looking grim. I think it's looking challenging. And I think this is how we're going to make it out of this with an improved version of civilization.
I hope so.
And I think, I really believe that. I think, if you follow Steven Pinker's work, you see where violence and crime is from, X amount of years ago. And this trend, it seems to be we're improving. We just don't improve in a logical way, and we improve in a push and pull. We improve in a constant state of overcorrection and response to the overcorrection and back and forth. And there's always a bunch of people that are so confused. Why can't we be logical? Why can't we be rational? I think those people have always existed. And I think you're always going to have the farthest out on the spectrum of the most damaging aspects of society and the most wonderful and benevolent aspects of society. And they're always duking it out to see who captures the minds and hearts of the beings that inhabit the civilization. And I think that's where we're at right now. We're at this weird thing where we're trying to figure out, like, what is good, what is kind, what is just. How many people are pretending to be kind just so they can grab power? How many people are just trying to use control to force people to listen to them and believe what they believe, whether it's religion or whether it's ideology? Like, what?
All right. We're starting to look really good. Yeah, hopefully, like I said, we should be able to finish this leather this weekend. So we're going to try. But I would get up out of here right now. Oh wait, ew, I need a nap. If I take a nap, I'll be up all fucking night. I feel tired right now. It is Friday. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Oi, oi, oi. Mm. Not next weekend, but the following weekend. Give myself about 2 more weeks. If I can't have it done in 2 weeks, I just need to stop painting. Honestly, I'm gonna try, but we'll see. All right, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed the rest of your evening. We'll be back in here in the morning. I catch y'all in the next one. Peace. We out here.